This is Jakk and
MT.
and we are Frankly Speaking.
Welcome back to another episode of Frankly Speaking. I'm Jakk. This is
MT.
and it was a little rough last week for the NFL picks. It was a little rough.
That's an understatement.
I feel like it's preseason again. How many teams lost? I feel like I couldn't buy a win. But before we get into that, how you doing today?
I am a mixed bag. I had a bad week as well, but I feel good. But we had some little extracurricular things going on in the URC that kind of frustrated me. But nature is human nature, I guess. I gotta accept it. So can't cry over spilled milk, I guess. But as sporting wise, I feel good though.
Okay.
Just knowing that you took a dump, I say we'll be good to go.
Now, what kind of hating stuff is that when your team loses, but as long as my team lost, it's like, okay, I'm okay with that. Like,
we gave it away.
I don't care how you lost.
Y'all got your heads taken from y'all.
Dude, we lost.
But an L's a L.
Very much true.
W's a W.
We lost 13-19. How was that? You act like we lost 13-49. Like,
dude, y'all were god awful. That y'all got 13 points. You were fortunate to do. You had a good kicker in there because y'all got awful.
Again, I go back to the statement. What kind of hating stuff is that?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
My quarterback let me down. Your entire team let you down. So I'm just saying. Look forward to a nice draft pick coming up next season. That's all I'm gonna say. Look forward to it. Because you are not making the playoff this year.
You sure about that?
No, I'm positive.
We got the same record.
It does not. Well, it's 2 games into the season. All I'm
is
gonna
that
say
what-
is
I didn't say we got the same record through 2 weeks. We got the same record.
we gave a game away.
I don't care how you lost.
There won't be too many more
You know
of those
what?
games
You know
like
what's
that.
funny? I actually can't wait till we play because if Jared Goff continues playing like that, and I wish we could like insert my my take from last week when I was talking about Jared Goff because what I said literally came to fruition a week later. Now, of course, that's where I was right, and now where I was wrong is talking about Aiden Hutchinson again. It seems like every time I mention him,
he plays like that against y'all.
And then
y'all gonna get a new quarterback.
It makes
back
no
then.
it makes no sense that he kept getting that one-on-one matchup with that tackle, and they did nothing else. It was like, hey man, you got that right? Like you need to try harder. Like I don't know. I don't know because I know Detroit fans are ready to anoint him the best edge rusher in the league. I'm not quite there. He's good. I'm not going. I'm not going. There you go, putting him in the Hall of Fame.
All I'm saying is if the Lions' defensive line behaves the way they behaved last week against the Bears, cancel Christmas. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, hopefully by the time we get to play, we figured out, how to scheme against defensive lines.
Unless we regress.
Because y'all don't have nobody else.
Unless we regress. That means,
you're regressing as a team.
Unless we regress.
What?
That meeting is
Amon
gonna be
Ross St.
laughable.
Brown through 2 weeks.
All I'm saying is unless we
How
regress.
much did y'all just pay him?
Well, I'm just going to say unless we regress.
Now, where would you rank Tampa Bay's defense? You think Tampa Bay's defense is better than our defense?
Right now, I say yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I say yes.
Through 2 weeks? I don't think they're ranked better.
Well, I'm just going to say that you haven't played anybody yet either. So I'm
we
just saying.
We actually just played a Super Bowl contender. You don't think Houston's a Super Bowl contender?
I'm going to.
I would say Houston's a little bit closer than Detroit.
At this point in time, yes, but I'm going to let this whole thing play out. So.
I see. You keep getting caught up on through 2 weeks. I'm saying in general.
Well,
Now, I understand it's still early. Teams still got to click. Things still got to gel. But in a projecting manner,
Well,
because there are certain teams that are like Houston is doing the same thing they were doing last year.
I don't expect our receiving core to be this tepid for the entire season.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Because Dog got his money and just turned hand to stone. I don't know what's going on.
All I'm saying is Jameson Williams is like ridiculous.
He's the only one that can make a catch.
Well, the way he was catching last week, he's the only one we needed. Jared Goff was one that's
really? Because you didn't win.
We didn't win, but we should have won though.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Y'all shouldn't have won and y'all didn't.
I mean, so
we could have won that game,
and so could we. We had the ball. Did you actually watch the game?
I was watching the game and laughing my ass off the whole time. Yes, I watched the game.
Okay, again, it's all hatred. I understand, whatever.
Those two teams look like teams on elevators going in opposite directions, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
So, who would you blame for the loss?
Jared Goff.
Now, I'm not talking. Of course, you blame Jared Goff. He stunk it up, and again, got saved because he should have had more turnovers. But whatever. I hope you keep playing like that when we play, because we'll have another 4-ball.
I liked our coaching decisions.
I'm not talking about in your game.
Oh, you're talking about the Chicago game?
Yes. Who would you blame for the loss? Like in your eyes?
Offensive line, quarterback, defensive line, coaching, you name it. Every aspect of the game.
Okay, so I'll give you the first two. The defense, what did the defense do? We held a Super Bowl contender to 19 points.
They missed some opportunities against you guys.
There is no missing opportunities. The opportunities missed, actually, they capitalized on, because when we were able to chase him out of the pocket, he still made completions.
I don't think Joe Mixon was 100% back anyway, though. I really don't. That was his first game of the season.
No, it wasn't. He got off week 1 and had over 150 yards.
That's what I'm thinking about the other guy. My bad.
Yeah, he ain't actually watching the games.
I was watching all of the games.
He just coming on the podcast trying to wing it. I was watching
all the games. All I'm saying is this. Y'all ain't making the playoff this year.
He got on Google, saw the score, saw that we lost. It was like, they stunk it up. So
no, I actually watched that game.
So what I liked from that game that you might not acknowledge is I like Caleb's composure. You saw him at the line calling out his protections, calling out audibles, like he actually commanded the game. Now, what are you supposed to do when I say set hut? And before let's say you making, let's say it's a play action, you got to fake the ball and then turn around. What if by the time I make that fake, there's somebody in your face?
All I'm saying is
every time
they were doing play action off of a non-existent running game.
So I thank you, because that's what I was about to get to. What did you see from the running backs? So if you actually look at the stats, our rushing attack looked a little bit better than what it actually is, because Caleb Williams made a couple run plays. But if you just look at strictly running backs, we averaged like 2 yards per carry, and it didn't look that good.
Which is why I would ask our coaching decision to keep doing the same old thing and it ain't working, and then have another run play action off of that.
So
I'm just saying.
3.5 yards per carry.
Is that just from the running backs, or is that total?
Rushing.
See, no. You gotta take
from the total.
You gotta take that out,
because he has some good runs.
Caleb Williams skews those numbers. He had like 4 rushes for like 50 yards. You have to take some of that out, because DeAndre Swift had like 12 carries for 20 yards.
Yep, he had 24 carries for 48 yards.
So that's literally the same percentage, just double the amount.
And then Caleb had 10 carries for 59 yards.
5.9 to 2.
So that's what I'm saying. Like those numbers are skewed a little bit. If you actually look at the production from the running backs, look at Khalil Herbert's numbers. He was running the ball a little more effectively than what Swift was able to. So, and again, I look at it from 2 perspectives. A, the offensive line is not able to get the appropriate push to be able to run the ball effectively, for one. And for two, the design runs that we're going to, why are we running the ball from the shotgun? That's an extra 3-4 yards you have to get to the line of scrimmage to gain a yard.
But isn't that coaching though?
That is the offensive scheming.
Okay, I thought it was.
And ironically, it's a portion of the coaching. Because our run game coordinator, ironically, is also our offensive line coach. He designs both. I don't know why we retained him through the new regime. And this is not really a new regime because it was kind of like a soft reset, because me personally, I like Matt Eberflus, and I love how he calls the defense, because our defense it really plays great. Like, the only person that was able to get off, and I have my one gripe against our defense, because Tyreek Stevenson was kind of getting eaten alive that whole game. Like, the only person that was able to get off was Nico Collins, because they kept throwing them on him. And it's like, okay. We just paid Jalen Johnson all this money, and he's supposed to be this lockdown corner, but he doesn't shadow. Now, I understand with Houston's offensive scheme, like, they got so many playmakers. It's like, okay, well, if you throw him on Nico Collins for the entire game, all I'm going to do is go to Stephon Diggs. But it's like, if he's the guy getting off and you feel like you're the number one corner in the league, every week I would be, who's the number one receiver on the team we're playing? Okay, that's me. I don't care where he's at on the field. That's me. I don't see him do that. So that's my one gripe against our defense. And I personally think we have one of the best secondaries in the league. Top 10, maybe top 5. So I think our defense is ahead of our offense. Obviously.
Bears passing defense is ranked 11. Bears total defense is ranked 8. And Bears rushing defense is ranked 13.
I was going to say, because you can't really...
Kind of middle of the package kind of thing going on there.
Better than...
I can't let you get away with that. That's not middle of the pack.
Yeah, because middle of the pack is...
11 and 13 is just ahead of the middle of the pack.
It's 32 teams in the NFL.
I'm about to say total overall, they're 8.
Okay.
32 teams in the NFL. Where does the Lions rank?
14 overall. On passing defense, Lions are 21.
Wow.
And then on rushing defense, though, we're 4. So it's same thing as last year. Can we stop the pass? We can stop the run. Can we stop the pass? Same thing.
Well, if we meet you guys on that kind of a situation,
it's going to be a low-scoring game.
I'm just saying, if you can't run on us,
it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Your pass.
See, but because that's the thing. If we can't identify a run scheme that works, our answer can't be, hey, Caleb, rookie, save us. Week 3, show us what you were doing at USC. Like, there is no time to develop to be able to say, like, okay, it's almost interesting, because it's like, if we would have drafted Patrick Mahomes in 2017, this is what he would have looked like if we would have started him out the gate. Like, and this is why I don't get mad when people like I've accepted and got over, like, we drafted Mitch Trubisky instead of Patrick Mahomes, because it's like Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be what he is had we. But anyway, this team is supposed to be different. So If we can't get off this week, this is when my panic meter start going off, because it'll be like, all right, through the first quarter of the season, we are still trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? And the interesting thing is Clint Kubiak, who just lit it up, who was lighting it up down there in New Orleans, putting up 40 points a game and looking all nice with the pass, reviving Derek Carr's career.
That's funny, because that was my next game I wanted to discuss too.
We actually interviewed him twice to be our offensive coordinator. Honestly, with the way our schemes have been designed so far, and I don't understand what we're doing with the personnel. I would have brought in his college coordinator in some capacity. He ended up going to be the offensive coordinator in Washington. I would have brought him in, pass game coordinator, offensive coordinator, because he could have implemented some of what he did well in college and made it not more vanilla, but made it more of an easier transition. Because that's the same thing they did with Cam Newton when he got drafted at Carolina. They didn't necessarily bring his offensive coordinator from Auburn. Yeah, for some reason my brain was saying Akron, but I knew that wasn't right. I had a little brain fart moment there for a second. But anyway, but they brought the playbook. They brought the scheme. They brought the concept. They brought the terminology. So it was an easier transition from day one. That's why he has one of the greatest rookie debuts game one out of the gate, because he was essentially doing the same thing he just got done doing. So the continuity from transitioning from college to the NFL was a lot smoother.
You got to also admit that Cam Newton was a heck of an athlete, more so than Caleb Williams is.
Yeah, as far as athleticism, of course.
And see, that's my whole issue with Caleb Williams. He was a good college athlete. The pro is a whole different universe. And people are not acknowledging that you got 300-pound linemen who are running as fast as you are. And you didn't have that in college. And you're gonna, even the dirt teams in the NFL are gonna have guys who are 275 pounds, 295 running you down when you take off running. So it's not the same thing.
See, the thing is, if you have an actual offensive line that could stop these guys from getting in the backfield so damn fast, imagine what you can do.
I do understand that, but I'm just saying.
Imagine Caleb Williams with the Detroit Lions offensive line. If my man had all damn day to throw, imagine what he would be. You think he would look the same he looks right now?
Well, I'm not going to be John Lennon, so I'm not going to imagine this. I'm just going to say this. Bottom line is, I still think he's not going to have the season everybody thought he was.
First of all, I'm not going to let you get off with that old-ass reference. You just made a reference 2/3 of our audience are not going to understand. That just went over everybody's head.
I didn't get it myself.
So. You know what I'm saying?
Mike,
the only person laughed.
Mike, the only one left.
You don't know who John Lennon is?
Yes, we know who John Lennon is, but ain't nobody here gonna be, except for Mike, gonna be able to reference a song from John Lennon. I'm just saying.
One of his biggest hits. Imagine this. Wow.
The Bears are ranked number 11 offensive line wise.
That's why I said the PFF grades don't look bad. And I'm like, well, what camera angles are you guys watching that I don't have access to? Because make it make sense. Make it make sense. The tackles are atrocious. This week the tackles are atrocious. Last week the interior line couldn't stop a nosebleed. Like, what are we? What are we doing? Like, I'm confused. If that's where we're ranked, what are you ranked? You got to be number one.
Wow.
The Detroit Lions number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles number 2, Indiana Colts number 3, Cleveland Browns 4, and the New York Jets.
I'm really surprised that
the Colts are number 3. The funny thing is, if we could actually make Anthony Richardson uncomfortable and make him make him pass. I don't really want to see him run, but dude is completing less than 50% of his capacity. So again, our next 3 opponents are the Indianapolis Colts, the injury-ridden Rams, and the Carolina Panthers. So when I looked at our schedule, when the schedule released, even though I picked them last week, because who am I to go pick against my team? Even the games that I feel deep down we're probably going to lose, I'm going to pick us to win. Why wouldn't I? I'm a fan. So, but as a fan of football,
there we go.
when I looked at the schedule, when it came out, and when the schedule released, everybody else got to see it. I looked at that game, and I'm like, yeah, we're probably going to lose that one. So I'm not shocked that we lost to the Houston Texans because, like I said before, I think one of these next couple of years, the Houstons will be playing in the Super Bowl. I wholeheartly believe that. And when I said I think they'll be playing against the Bears, I wholeheartedly believe that. So my prediction ain't changed. However, my prediction from last week about y'all
so
is kind of correct so far.
How do you feel about unicorns?
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
The Bears going to the Super Bowl in the next couple of years. You got some unbelievable stuff going on there, so I'm just throwing it out there.
I don't find any of that relevant, but I think our odds of going to the Super Bowl are higher than yours because I think your team is regressing and y'all just don't want to admit it. What were the points that I made last week? Jared Goff is starting to play like he played when Sean McVay got pissed off in L.A., and our defense is starting to figure out Ben Johnson's offense. Through 2 weeks, all I'm saying, it kind of looks like, you know what I mean? It kind of looks like those things are true through 2 weeks. The same way you're like, oh, Caleb is playing bad and blah, 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 blah. They throwing it to the what? All that's true. But what I'm saying about your team is true too.
I still believe we'll get there before you guys do.
In what universe? On Madden?
I mean, we were one game away last year, so I'm just saying.
You win your Super Bowl and then you turn off your Xbox. Like, is that what universe we're living in right now?
All I'm saying is...
Because that's the only place I see Jared Goff winning a Super Bowl.
He may not win.
It's on Madden 25.
He may not win it, but he'll get there before Caleb Williams does.
He's already gotten there. And you see what they were able to do. They managed to put up 3 points. Shout out to the kicker.
I meant the Lions, not Jared Goff, but the Lions will get there before the Bears do.
Well, we were talking about Jared Goff.
Yeah, we were.
So I'm just saying, if that's your quarterback, and that's going to be your quarterback for the Lions.
Well, I mean, he was one of the leading passers last year as far as yards and everything.
What that got to do with this year?
I'm going to take a wait-and-see posture. I'm not going to just assume he's just going to take a dump of this whole entire season. Now, I'm going to assume that about Caleb Williams, but not about Jared Goff, though. Just based on past histories, because he's had some pretty decent seasons with the Lions, so I got to go with that.
He's had one.
He's been one.
He's had one.
He's had one of the leading pass yardage passers in like the last couple of years. So it's not just been just 1 year. He's always got the yards.
But there's only 1 year that it came with the wins.
I'm just saying.
All I'm saying is if y'all lose to Arizona, y'all panic meter better be going off.
Arizona is not exactly Slavs this year, though.
I don't care. Neither is Tampa Bay. But see, here's the thing. With the Lions, you guys tend to make your mistakes late. Like the last couple years you've been successful, you got off hot early. Mm-hmm. Except for the 1 year that y'all lost all the games up front and then got hot toward the end of the year. But as a team, would you call that a regression if you go back to losing a bunch of games early and then getting hot late?
No, I wouldn't. If we make the playoffs, you can call it what you want to call it. Who
said you're going to make the playoffs?
I did.
You a guru? Can I get the lottery numbers for the evening?
Odds on, one of the odds on favorites at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Vegas changes odds all the time. It changes with new information.
Well, I didn't
There's
see the
new
Bears
information.
In there. No prognosticator had the Bears.
Why do you want to change the goalposts every time the hot seat you in the hot seat?
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
We were one of the favorite teams.
I'm not again. In Vegas odds, they change with new information all the time.
And I didn't see our odds shift that far.
But what does that have to do with the Lions?
I didn't see our odds shift that far.
What does that have to do with the Bears?
You just said you're going to make it to the Super Bowl before we are.
I never said this season. I'm talking about what we see as it persists, as it pertains to right now.
What I'm saying is this.
I'm projecting. And in my projection, I don't see you guys. I see you guys regressing.
Well, here's what I'm saying. I don't see Caleb Williams as a franchise.
What does that
quarterback.
have to do with you regressing through two games?
I don't see him
through
as
two
a
games.
franchise quarterback
Through two games
because he had
in
a
his
brilliant-
NFL season.
He had a brilliant
not
college
through
season.
2 years.
He had a brilliant college
not
year.
Not through 2 months. You're not even gonna get a kid till Thanksgiving. Through 2 games, he's not a franchise quarterback.
All I'm saying is,
I
I'm
told
not
you this guy doesn't
going-
actually watch the games.
I'm not
he just
going
looks.
to put this guy in the
He'll
Hall of
get on
Fame
YouTube.
based on
Who
college.
is putting him in the Hall of Fame?
You are basically
What the?
based on college. I threw all the college stats out of the window.
Well, USC is retiring his number, so I'm
Well,
just
that's
saying.
college. We're talking about the NFL now, and I don't see him being
He
a
has
top tier
played
quarterback.
2 games. Through 2 games. Now, when you talk about progression, through game 1 to game 2, he made a jump. He looked better in game 2. Now, the interesting thing is the offensive line looked worse from week 1 to week 2. But he, as an individual, played better from week 1 to week 2.
I'm
So
just saying,
what are you
I
seeing,
saw
sir?
him miss a lot of throws.
What the throws that you're seeing him miss is he not under pressure? The majority of he was under pressure 45 or so.
Going by that same premise, we can make the same argument for Jared Goff.
We're not making because you have the number 1
He was
offensive
under
line.
pressure when he made those.
You're missing passes when
dumb
he's not
decisions.
under pressure.
Can I play devil's advocate? Just
Go
as a
ahead.
Lions fan.
He- but-
I would like to say,
Okay.
I wouldn't say regression. I would say
You're starting slower than you did.
you were starting
in
slower than we
previous years.
did last year, and not only that, gelling still. I think with the
But
new
my-
receiver, because the new receiver, that's where the first pick comes from. Jared Goff, he's under pressure. Okay, you're supposed to hit that inside, he hit the outside. And then, we're giving the ball up in the red zone. We should have kicked it like 3 times. We left 12 points on the board.
So
We left about 12 points on the board, and that's us trying to play
Aggressive.
this hero ball. And so it's like,
So my question, have I not been saying through the last few years, your coaching is going to come back and bite you in the ass?
I mean, yes. but at
It
the
comes
same
back to
time, it
bite
come
you in
with-
the ass in the worst situations, because if your coach made the proper decisions in the NFC Championship game, you're playing in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, but as y'all said, that's last year. We in week 2 now.
Okay, so you go to this season
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing the same thing.
Week 2.
So here's my whole thing. It's week 2, but this is like year 4. It's not like this is week 2 of a new system. Week 2. So my whole thing is, where is the necessity to jail?
But I think you
When
put
You have the same team.
I think you put like that one mistake on the mistakes I would say with Dan Campbell is before halftime we should have got 3 points, and I won't really call it a mistake because I myself said go for it on that 4th down on that last play when before we gave the ball back to him with 40, 50 seconds left. I myself said go for it because I thought, this is football. If you don't get it here, that's the game. That's how football usually goes. And so that mistake, other than what on the Lions, is execution and gelling. Other than that, it's not really coaching mistakes, because then you don't want to talk about the 4th down. You're not talking about that 4th down conversion that we did get, which did lead us to the red zone, which led to Jared Goff just giving the ball up. You can't put that, but you can't put that on coaching.
No, I understand you can't put it all on coaching. It's a conglomerate, just like the same thing I'm talking about with my team.
Yeah, it adds up.
But my whole thing is, this is year 4 of being in the same system. Why is there a necessity to jail? You're supposed to be building off of the.
Reynolds went to Washington. We have a whole new you know what I'm saying? So
It's the same receivers. You didn't go out and pick up any new receivers.
but that's what his first interception came from, when he was trying to throw it to his new receiver.
But my whole
Because the
thing.
new receiver went outside instead of inside.
What new receiver?
What's his name? He played. But that's what I'm saying. But that's miscommunication above all.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams.
Bro, Amon-Ra's getting, can we stop? Amon-Ra's getting doubled dang near every play. Is he not? So, and I'm not going to tell Jared Goff to force feed it because we see when Jared Goff tries to force feed it. Come on now. Come on now. So what are we talking about?
What was my statement coming into the podcast?
But that's what we have J-Mo.
But hold on. What was my statement coming into the podcast? Because I said Jared Goff is starting to play like when Sean McVay got pissed off when he was playing with the Rams. That was my opening. I'm not going to say
Sean
opening
McVay
statement.
got whooped this weekend. Last time I checked too. So Sean McVay ain't in the clear. Like, okay, you got a Super Bowl, that's cool. But we are in the now, and Sean McVay, you got whooped by who was it?
The same team that you got coming into town this week. Now, they are ravaged. They have virtually nobody left, man. The whole offensive line is injured. All the receivers are injured. It's like, what do you expect? I mean,
you gotta play ball. I don't like we gotta play ball. I don't know what to say. You gotta play ball.
So, okay, you put that same theory that happens to the Detroit Lions. And you guys start losing games because everybody's injured. You're not going to be coming in here making the excuse. Well, Penei Sewell is hurting. Amon-Ra is hurting. Jared Goff is hurt. What are you expecting us to do?
It's one of those things that, of course, you, as a football fan, you're gonna be like, okay, my team will be better. But at the same time, it's like,
so you can't.
We suck.
You can't. You can't move the goalposts when it only pertains to your team.
Okay, let's talk about let's talk about the Vikings then.
No, actually, you do the same thing. You do the same thing every time I put you in a hot seat. Well, what about those Bears? Well, we're not talking about the Bears.
All I'm saying is, if the shoe fits, it doesn't matter who puts it on. Wear it.
If the shoe fits, Cinderella wouldn't have lost her slipper at the ball. What does any of this matter?
All I'm saying is,
let's get into
the reason that I always
here come the excuses.
obfuscate.
Here come the excuses.
You always do. So I'll say, you know what? I'm not gonna allow him to do that and not do the same thing.
So
you always do that.
If I go jump off a bridge, you gonna follow me?
We're on the podcast, so the bridge might not be that high. So yeah, let's do this.
Man, I always thought elders were supposed to be leaders, man. You're not supposed to follow my behavior.
All I'm saying is that's
bad. That's a bad.
You're
look.
the football expert.
Now I'm the football expert.
You're the football guru. I'm the basketball expert. That's all I'm saying. So when you talk about football, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a leeway. I don't agree with you at least 90% of the time, but I'm gonna say, you know,
I don't agree with 90% of your basketball takes, but you're like, so I'll give you. You're a savant at the 90s unknown basketball players, the forgotten players that nobody thinks about. Yeah, he know all them names.
I'll say this, and this is what makes this podcast work. Two different perspectives. I'm old school, you're new school. They ain't never gonna jail. I mean, I heard Isaiah Thomas say a few months ago that the athletes in today's NBA are outstanding. They're a lot more athletic than we were. But then he qualified it, but they don't know how to play the game.
It's always a caveat with the old heads.
It has to be because they were winners. If Isaiah Thomas wasn't a champion, he couldn't say that. He won. If you heard me say somebody like, say, Michael Ray Richardson was saying that, dude, you never made the playoffs.
Here go them names.
You don't know who Sugar Ray was?
Here go them names.
Google him. Guy was a freaking legend here and in Europe. All I'm saying is he didn't have the credentials
to make 13 points coming off the bench.
All right. So in week 2.
Oh boy, week 2 was bad.
In week 2, Ken, you went 7-9, and Martin, you went 6-10. So one game apart.
I felt like how you felt last week. Like, can we just start fresh?
I was not looking at my set just like, man, I'm glad I don't have anything to throw at this thing because I would probably break my TV set. Are you kidding me? And then I'm like, oh, the Cowboys, what? Oh, there we go. Oh, what? The Colts.
I could see. Here's the difference when you actually have real coaches, because Malik Willis, through a week playing with Green Bay versus playing with the Tennessee Titans, looks like a completely different player. And it's just like I've made the statement before that I think there are more bad coaches in sports than there are bad players.
I agree.
You know, because it's a reason that we scouted you and wanted to bring you here. You had some kind of talent or athleticism that led us to be like, hey, yeah. Now, when you get to that professional level and, you know, you get these coaches who have this mindset that I am the system.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not, hey, this is the talent that I have. Let me utilize the talent. It's like I am the system.
See, that's a new school phenomenon. Because we go back to the old school and Chuck Daly and Pat Riley and Phil Jackson, they plug you into a system and say, well, that doesn't work. Let's plug him into the system. Well, you know what? He does well at this. Put him over here instead. And then they flourish. So they used you according to what your value was and your skill set. They didn't make you like, this is my system. Either you do it this way or you hit the road.
I want to disagree because for all of those legendary coaches, you also have some, for lack of a better word, boneheaded coaches that were, well, this is my system.
That would be like a Jack Ramsey, Portland Trailblazers.
Like
that would be like a Doug Collins.
But you have them in the NFL too. It's not just basketball. You have them in the Major League Baseball. It's not just you have them in all sports. You have actually you have them at all levels.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I had a high school coach that came in and was just like he wanted to be friends with all the players and was just like, well, like literally anybody could play whatever position they wanted.
And I think that's one of those arguments where you just kind of have to merge both of them because you'll always have to have the fundamentals of the game. And so like Colorado, for instance, like you brought up running from shotgun. That's really how they run a lot of the times. Like he don't get under center like this.
And their offensive line is terrible.
So what? Get put a tight end up there. Get a fullback back there. Like let's get some old school football going a little bit. Maybe I'm not saying that's the answers, but we gotta try something.
I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion about Shedeur too, because I think the narrative that was surrounding Caleb coming out of college that turned out not to be true, like personality-wise, I think it's actually going to be true about Shedeur. Like his dad is going to be super influential and blah, 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 and he's going to have this really bad attitude and he has this diva mentality and he's doing I kind of think the narrative that was surrounding Caleb will actually be true about Shedeur. Because and even from a playing standpoint where it's like, yeah, he torches the terrible defenses and then it boosts his confidence, but then once he plays actual good college Power 5 defenses, he looks atrocious. He doesn't look that good, and they'd be like, oh, okay.
Do you think if he goes to a school like Oregon, Alabama, he look different? For both of you, like, do you think if he goes to like
you mean got some real coaching? Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
And see, the interesting thing is my take was going to be along those lines. Is Deion going to follow him?
Well, I mean,
it's him in his own journey. He is going to.
I think he would be better off without Deion. I think if Deion was playing more of a, I got my sons in position to be where they need to be, I can back off. I think Deion is kind of stunning his growth because Deion, he was doing it during a time when it really wasn't popular. You didn't have that many defensive backs that had that stud mentality, like he was a wide receiver, right? But he was also a multi-sport athlete. And it's like, well, I'm bad in both sports. I can play in a World Series one day and then come play for Atlanta and play in a playoff game in the same day, get my PJ. And, he had the whole swagger and attitude coming out of college. When he told the Lions, like, I ain't gonna be there when y'all pick. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, from that standpoint, he's like kind of forcing his kids to do the same thing. And I'm not saying he's forcing them to have like the attitude. They probably adopted it on their own just from seeing him. But I think it's a situation where you're gonna be coming in and you're gonna have a target on your back. Like, you're not playing a position where if you don't get drafted to the right team, and I know Deion is like, well, we'll refuse to play, and I get it. Like, you got the name and the clout to maybe be able to do that, but let's say the team that you want him to go play for doesn't have the structure for the offensive line. Like, let's say he wants him to go play for the Cowboys, right? Let's say Dak is done. They let him walk. They got to move some pieces around to get in a position to draft him. What if those pieces involve offensive linemen, and now he has a makeshift offensive line and one weapon? You know what I mean? Now he's around running for his life looking like Caleb with 2 seconds to throw the ball. And it's like, I look at it from the standpoint, the same thing that like LeVar Ball did with his son, with Lonzo.
Just thinking about that.
Like how you put the target on his back and his chest and was like, coming out of college, actually coming out of high school, it was like, well, my son is already better than Steph. And, just like, and I admire them for their leadership as men and their roles as fathers. Because any man, black, white, Asian, I don't care what your nationality, if your son could become a professional athlete at whatever regard, you would be proud. Like, yeah, that's my boy. You know what I mean? So I respect them as fathers and respect them as men, but I think ultimately for their sons' careers, like you did what you could do to catapult them to get them to that level. Now let them blossom and let them flourish. And I think Deion is a little more hands-on because he's literally coaching them. And it's also stunning the Colorado program as a whole, because he only has his hands on his select favorites and everybody else kind of gets the short end of the stick. You know what I mean? Like everybody, it's like, so we got Travis Hunter, we got Shador, and we got Shiloh that'll probably go in the 3rd, 4th round. And then everybody else is like, well, go prepare to go to med school because, we ain't got nothing for you here. And you hear the players, like, once they lead a team that come out and talk bad about them, their experience. And it's like, well, outside of that, like, he looks like the great man and when the camera's rolling, but when the camera's not rolling and the door's shut, he's chewing everybody out. And if you question him, he's telling you, well, you ain't, you didn't do squat that game and you can leave. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you not playing no way.
See, in that regard, I don't consider him to be a good coach.
Me
I just
as well.
don't. I mean, he may be a good motivator, and you might have that guy to give the old one for the Gipper speech every now and again. He was good for rebuilding Jackson State. But to me, X's and O's and just personality management, he's not a good coach.
That's something else that I was going to touch on as well. I don't think people really understand just because you are a great player, that doesn't always translate to being a great coach.
It does not, especially if you can't transcend the era in which you played and understand that things are different now.
And that definitely, because I think that's why a lot of these old school coaches aren't thriving in the new school. Like if you look at pretty much any league or any level, the young coaches are who's kind of making the game dynamic in a sense.
And then there are the older.
Like the young coaches in college basketball, college football, professional basketball, professional football, like even at a high school level. Like it's the young coaches that are able to handle the newer personalities of the younger players. Because the old coaches that are like, especially college coaches, because the coach really sets the culture. You guys are shipped out of here and we get a transition or a turnover every 3-4 years, and the only continuity in the program is the coach.
Is the coach.
You know what I mean? So it's a heavy emphasis. And I think like the Nick Sabans that we're seeing, like the NIL era and like just the differences in the personalities, like even just going back a few years. So the personalities were already changing because kids didn't want to be coached hard. But it's like the questions are changing. It's not what is your facility like, what is my playing time going to be like? It's what kind of NIL money y'all got. I can go get this much out the transfer portal. And I think some of the older coaches that are smart, especially in college sports, are kind of like, okay.
They adjust.
Either that or realize this isn't for me anymore.
Well, I look at an Andy Reid, and Andy Reid seems to have a formula to coaching old school and new school players. Plus, he has the foresight to adjust his system accordingly. Because Andy Reid was like straight old school when he was with the Eagles.
Yeah, but he won at every level. He was successful.
Always adjusting, though.
He's always been. But see, my whole thing is the difference between like the animal that college sports is now.
Yeah, it's
like,
transformed.
Like the crazy thing is, I just said like it's a turnover every 3-4 years, but with the transfer portal, it's a potential turnover every year.
Every year.
So the necessity to get out and recruit harder and like it's like I get the NFL is a full-time job, like it's one of those never-ending jobs, but college sports goes a step beyond that because you don't like you get free agency in the NBA and NFL, like recruiting season where you got to fly out to all the recruits' houses and constant conversation and like it's too much. Well, it's too much
because of the monies involved in sports in general. They've all become full-time jobs because now it's almost as important to brand your school as it is to just have a good program. If your school doesn't have a good brand, players aren't going there.
But also, that's the reason that that's the reason a lot of these bad coaches keep getting jobs.
Exactly.
Because they may have been successful at a point in time, so they have the name, which builds the brand, and then they go stink it up at this school, and then they go to this school, they go stink it up at that school. Well, I'm gonna go to this school, and it's like, okay, well, I would almost be encouraged to take the up-and-coming coordinator, you know what I mean, as opposed to going and getting, because from an innovation standpoint, you're more adapted to being able to say, well, this is where the game is transitioning. Maybe I should jump on this curve, you know what I mean, as opposed to being one of those, this is my system, I am the system guys. Because that's what you get when you go hire these old coaches that are set in their ways. I've been doing this for 40 years.
That's why
this is how you do it.
Why Bill Parcells was such a good coach in his era. And he's like, he sensed when it was changing that he had to get out. Because Bill Parcells was like, I'm calling him the big tuna for a reason, but he was just phenomenal in his era.
Then again, you still have some of those old brilliant coaches like the Steve Spagnuolo's, the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's an old coach. He's in his 60s. No one is calling him, and that's why Andy Reid loves him, because like he's brilliant the way that he coaches the defense. But nobody is knocking on the door to go get a 60-year-old defensive coordinating, coach.
Yeah, but Steve Spagnuolo was never the personality that Bill Parcells was, though. Parcells was like,
but that's also one of those things that defines whether you could be a head coach, because being a head coach, you're more than responsible for just the players. You also have to answer the media and to be able to. You also have to be kind of like a politician in a sense, coach speak as they like to call it.
And that's why I say that Primetime is not a good coach, because I look at him the way he almost surfs the media like in a condescending manner. Like, do you know who I am? I'm Primetime. And I'd be looking at him like, dude.
We all know who you are.
Exactly. I'm like.
Do you think he transitions to the NFL? Like once?
No.
You don't?
No. No.
I don't think he becomes a head coach, but something in my heart of hearts is telling me, like, once the three get drafted, he's gonna, wherever Shador goes, he's gonna go in some capacity.
Well, he may go, but he will never be a head coach.
Oh no! I don't think he'll be a head coach.
I look at him, and I think about Nick Saban's his little foray into the NFL.
It's gonna be something funny, right? He's gonna go be like a DB coach.
He could do that.
It ain't. But see, here's the thing. I was just gonna say it's not even gonna be anything that has direct capacity to do with Shador. He's just going to be around. Like, that's what I'm saying. He's smothering a little bit.
Well, I think he's one of those guys who just can't put down the fanfare and the applause. He doesn't know when to step away and just be a role.
Because he prime time.
And see, prime time is like you got cable news now. Everything is prime time, and he doesn't understand that. Prime time used to be like when we were coming up. It was like that prescribed segment of the day when everybody watched TV. You got cable and you got streaming now. What you missed on prime time, you catch the next day.
I'm glad he brought up streaming because I'm like, bro, who has cable?
I'm just saying.
It's so I just want to make this point. Watching games sucks in the streaming era because you have to have so many different streaming services to watch all the games. And it's like, oh, well, you could have consolidated everything and watched it free. We were there. It was called cable. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. But can we get to the picks before we got to get out of here?
Yeah.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment if you like the content here. We frankly speaking.
What he said.
All right. So overall, we got Jakk at 21-11 and MT at 18-14.
Not dang. So my record week 1 was impeccable.
14-2, man. It don't get no better than that.
Boy, 16-0 is a little bit sweeter, but I'll take it. Consolation prize.
All right. In week 3, we got the Patriots at the Jets.
I'm going with Jets. That's brutal.
Jets playing at home.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with the Jets. The interesting thing is, I ain't gonna get caught up too much, but the Patriots look maybe a little bit better than we thought.
I'm actually.
You going with the
I'm going
Patriots?
with Pats on that one. I'm not gonna lie. Giants,
Bold
Browns.
move.
Browns.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Browns.
Eagles at Saints.
Saints. I'm not convinced about the Eagles anymore. They shoot themselves in the foot too much, man. They just, I don't know, accident prone like a little kid, always bumping into stuff, and you didn't see that, dummy. What are you doing? I don't trust them anymore. I'm going to Saints.
That's a tough one because I think Saquon probably plays better in this game.
Man, that was terrible. That was brutal. That was brutal. That
'Cause
one.
if he gets that run, well, first of all, if you run him instead of pass him, it was 4-down territory. You could have got that first down.
But if you just catch the ball, that's the first anyway.
Yeah, but
Just catch the ball. So then now people, and I go back to coaching. Now everybody wants to oh, that's coaching.
So, but
It's like, that's execution to me,
I
in my
wouldn't.
opinion.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. If you call a pass play there, then it's dependent on him catching the ball. Whereas if you run 2 times there, you know what I mean? Like you only needed a yard.
And he's been known to drop passes.
He would have got the yard though if he would have.
He would have, but he didn't.
He didn't,
But they could have ran it twice, but they didn't.
But he's been known to drop passes before, though.
So if you go back to that Super Bowl when the Patriots beat Seattle, do you think if they could go back in time, they're giving the ball to beast mode and running it at the 1 yard line?
I don't know, but the way we hear about their power structure over there, they might just be like, man, forget Marshawn, do it again. We got it this time.
They couldn't stop him.
That one is rough. I'm gonna go with the Saints there, but my heart is kind of leaning with Philly. I think Philly is not as
Well,
bad.
the Eagles are going down south anyway, so it ain't. They in a dome with it.
I'm just not trusting the Eagles anymore. I'm just not. Man. And like I said, Saquon Barkley has had a long history of dropping passes. So they should have known that. That's why he's a running back, not a receiver, I guess. I don't know.
Texans at Vikings.
Texas.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Texans too.
Broncos at the Buccaneers.
I'm gonna go Bucks.
Packers at Titans.
I'm gonna go Packers.
Wow. I'm going Tennessee on that one. I really am.
Oh boy.
I don't trust the Packers.
Bears at the Colts.
I'm gonna ride with my babies. They're down.
Yeah, they're going to be down all right, Colts.
Chargers at the Steelers.
Chargers. Steelers look so inept right now.
That defense is holding together though.
Yeah, I who playing at home?
The Steelers are at home.
I'm gonna go Pittsburgh.
Dolphins at Seahawks.
I'm gonna go Seahawks.
Yeah, who's the Dolphins quarterback now?
I have no clue. I don't think it's gonna matter.
Yeah, I gotta go Seahawks too because that's man.
Panthers at the Raiders.
I'm going Raiders.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just go Raiders.
Yeah.
49ers at the Rams.
49ers, they can't stick it up again. Man. I just don't think they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Rams at home.
Don't matter.
Yeah, I think the Rams ain't got much to work with.
Lions at Cardinals.
I'm gonna go You know what? I picked y'all to win last week and y'all let me down.
I'm running with the homeboys. Lions it is.
Of course you are. That's why you wore that ugly colored shirt.
Can you talk trash about Aiden Henderson real quick so he can go get like 6 sacks? Because like you said, every time. And it's like when you're devoted about it, like when you go like, no, Aiden Hunt, it's not like, oh, okay, he's okay. It's
Twice.
like, no.
It's literally happened twice.
You don't think he watches our podcast?
No, he might be a few.
Who are these two characters?
I'm gonna take, you know what? I'm gonna take y'all scrubs.
You have
I'm
to.
gonna take the kitty lion.
He's trying to play devil's advocate so we lose because he picked him. That's what that is.
Hey, be it as it may.
The curse.
With your record and your false picks, I can spare a game or two.
Ravens at the Cowboys.
It was 0-2, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go with law averages to say Ravens. For the Cowboys, I don't really see them bouncing back from that little trial they took last week. I really don't see it. I see that whole thing disrupting their chemistry, and I just don't see it.
Cowboys making the playoffs this season?
Yeah, they will.
I think so because of the division, especially if the Eagles are taking a step back. I'm gonna take Dallas in that game.
Chiefs at the Falcons.
Wow.
I'm gonna take the Chiefs.
I'm going Falcons.
I said the Chiefs almost lost last week.
Yeah,
I'm
but see,
going
the
Falcons.
Chiefs got a little something up their sleeve
They-
called the referees that be helping out. I rock with it.
See, I didn't want to be that guy. Okay, so after I said, yeah, they won, last year, I was going to say with a little help. But, I didn't want to be that guy. So I'm glad someone said it.
Hey, I call sometimes you gotta call a spade a spade.
Okay, the Jaguars at Bills.
I'm gonna go
Bills.
Bills. I'm gonna go Buffalo. Oh, you finally rocking with the Bills, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
they showed you a little
Jaguars
something.
got an opportunity for futility this year that the Lions used to have all the time. They just look terrible.
Commanders at Bengals.
Bengals. They too are going to be futility.
I'm gonna take the Commanders. I
What
don't.
is wrong with this guy?
Cincinnati, like you told me something last week that made so much sense. Cincinnati never starts off hot. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. It's been a good podcast episode, I think. Thank you to everybody, the production team, for the and giggles. We're going to edit that part out.
Just go beep like that. Because you got to have that context in there. Just edit that out.
Spice it up a
Just
little
beep
bit.
it out, man.
All right, but yeah, man. We frankly speaking, I'm Jack. This is
MT.
and we out of here. Bear down.